Cancer is a disease that has had a large impact on my family the past few years. I lost my grandfather to a 3-year battle in February. A world without cancer is a vision people have had and continue to fight toward. Jim Valvano was a college basketball coach who reached the highest level of coaching success by winning a national title, then at the lowest of the lows, while battling cancer that would eventually take his life. In 1993, in the last days of his life, Jim stood in front of his peers at the ESPN ESPY Awards and accepted the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian Award, an award given to a person who was able to show great courage. Jimmy V, as he was known, spoke for the next 10 minutes or so with the same fire and passion he always seemed to have, moving aside his crippling disease and moving the crowd to tears. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is the phrase and motto for the V Foundation that Jimmy and ESPN created and announced that night, and a phrase that Valvano did indeed seem to live by. Jimmy V had a vision, a world without cancer, a theme that has carried on through his foundation for the past 20 years. Passion, emotion, thought, all words that he used to describe a vision of a happy, healthier world. Words that everyone can connect to create their own vision of happiness. Now, at a time where sports stars are often seen in such a negative light, it's important to ask, what can the Jim Valvano ESPY speech teach us about rhetorical vision and the importance of sports? In order to answer this question, we analyze the theory of symbolic convergence. Valvano's speech moved people, and his foundation continues to receive millions of dollars annually. This theory will better illustrate how a vision can become a reality. So we will first examine the theory of symbolic convergence and its literature applied to Valvano's speech before finally answering our question. Symbolic convergence theory was created, and its methods of fantasy theme analysis was created by Ernest G. Borman. This theory is to provide insight into shared worldview of groups. Fantasy theme is based on two major premises. One, that communication creates a reality, and the other is that symbols not only create reality for the individuals, but for the individuals, meanings for that symbols can converge to create a shared meaning or community consciousness. More simply, communicating in a group will create a reality of what is being talked about. Symbolic convergence also contains two units of analysis. The first is fantasy theme. Now, the word fantasy is not used to describe something imaginary, but instead refers to a creative and imaginative interpretation of events. Fantasy theme is a word, phrase, or statement that interprets events in the past, present, or future and tells a story of a group's experience. The other unit of analysis is rhetorical vision, which is the unified putting together of various shared fantasies. Rhetorical vision puts together ideas and fantasy themes to provide a particular view of reality. Symbolic convergence theory and fantasy theme analysis has been used to analyze the communication of many different types of groups, from the Nazis to political campaigns to sports teams. For example, Hitler was one of the greatest persuaders of all times. He convinced millions that Jewish people were not equal and should be killed. This mob-like mentality and Hitler's incredibly convincing persona was an incredibly negative way that we have seen symbolic convergence used. The Nazi Germans acted in a group. Hitler's communication of the Jewish people to his followers led to the community consciousness that Hitler was a man who should be followed. Now, around the NBA in the past few weeks, players have worn t-shirts that said, "I can't breathe," during warm-ups. This is to bring awareness to a situation in New York where a man, Eric Gardner, was killed by a cop. During a time where protesters have often turned violent and acted foolishly around the world, the NBA players have used their platform, like Valvano, to act peacefully and to protest. This community consciousness for the players is that Gardner was wrongfully killed, and they're showing their support for their family and paying their respects. In each instance, we see these very different groups of people combining thoughts, ideas, and feelings and putting a plan into action. Now that we have a more clear understanding of symbolic convergence, we can now take a more in-depth look into Valvano's ESPY speech. Once a coach, always a coach, as the saying goes. A pre-game rambling of stories, motivation, and life lessons. Valvano has given this same speech 1,000 times, but this time it's on a different stage, with a different audience, with the same goals, to motivate and inspire his audience. You could hear a pin drop as Valvano began to speak. Jimmy expressed gratitude for being able to receive the Arthur Ashe Award and said that in life, everyone should do 3 things every day. You should laugh, you should think, and you should have your emotions move you to tears. If you can do these 3 things every day, you have a great life. Jimmy then made reference to some famous sports figures in the crowd and some deceased, noting how they have impacted his life with humorous anecdotes. After a lighthearted first half, Valvano turned more serious, but wasn't going to talk about himself or his circumstances. He urged that everyone enjoy every moment of their life because he understands how quickly it can all be taken away from you. Jimmy concluded his speech by announcing the Jimmy V Foundation, which will help him support cancer research. As we see in symbolic convergence theory, communication creates a reality. A shared consciousness has been developed by Jimmy in the fight for cancer. Since his passing, people have filled in and continue to nurture his original idea in order to benefit as many people as possible. Jimmy then touches on past, present, and future items. Arthur Ashe is the person that exemplified exactly what Valvano wanted to be remembered as when he was gone. Turn personal misfortune into something beneficial for someone else. This is the fantasy that continues to guide his foundation and allows it to grow every year to become the successful organization that it is today. Being selfless is a key ingredient into every sports team. If you're in it for yourself, you will not achieve your goals as a team, as a group. We're all in this fight for cancer together. Valvano then goes on to talk about his daughters, all young and in good health. Once again, understanding his fate, says that the research can't save his life, but with the help from his foundation, everyone, the research could save his daughters, could save their daughters. Oratorical vision is the only way that this can be made possible. It will take the vision and ideas of many. Cancer is no longer a battle being fought by one person. It will take an army, and Jimmy is calling in the troops. Having applied symbolic convergence to Jimmy V's speech, we can now return to our research question. What can the Jim Valvano SB speech teach us about rhetorical vision and the importance of sports? I've shown the sports were a platform for Valvano to get his message across. Valvano was a leader, and he guided many teams to success. Now he wants to guide the fight for cancer to success. His speech continues to this day to be played every year around the time of the ESPYs. And more importantly, it's not enough for people to come together with an idea. It needs a leader or a coach to guide it. The groundwork is in place for this to be a success. Every year, Jim Valvano's speech gets played on ESPN around the time of the ESPYs. His legacy and his fight will live on. We're reminded of his message of resiliency. The speech gets played every year because it reminds us how powerful a sports speaker can be. By creating a shared rhetorical vision, this famous basketball coach used his skills to inspire thousands of people in his fight for cancer and to never give up. The speech showed the power of symbolic convergence and the theory of oratory. In other words, Jimmy didn't just give another halftime speech, and it wasn't just another speech about cancer. He showed how a speaker with confidence can bring together and change the landscape and achieve a vision. But today I've discussed the theory of symbolic convergence, along with its units of fantasy theme analysis and rhetorical vision. Jim Valvano displayed courage and leadership. He turned individuals into teammates. He turned strangers, friends, in the fight for cancer. He turned the idea of a world without cancer into an incredibly successful foundation assisting in his fight. Regardless if you've ever played a sport or not, we can all associate with Jimmy's famous words, don't give up, don't ever give up.